Namaste, class 10 student. I am your teacher Krishna Didal from NPABSAN Kaski. Now this is our second class of chapter 11, metals. Now let's remember our previous classes. What we have read? We have read what are the metals, what is the definition, and why it is being essential in our life. So simply you can recall also the electropositive elements. I think I have focused on electropositive word also. Have you remembered? If you have not remembered, I will also again say those elements which lose valence electron during chemical reaction are called electropositive elements. So you will get this thing, and good conductor of heat and electricity are called metal, and this example gold, copper, silver, iron, aluminum, and they are essential part of our life. And another we read about the properties of metal. For any element to be metal, what will have property? So for a boy you should have some property. For a girl it should have some property, like that. For any element to be a metal, it must have the following properties. That is good conductor, that means electricity and heat must easily pass through it, mostly are solid in nature, that means have fixed geometrical shapes in nature, and high melting point, high boiling point, malleable in nature, ductile in nature. If you have forgotten malleable, if an element it can be beaten into the sheet, that is called malleable property. And another is ductileness, that is the property of metal from where we can make a wire like structure, that is ductile. So lustrous, if you have forgotten, I will recall you. Lustrous means shiny, chamkilo, right? So and another is mostly hard. So you must know these properties of metals, and we read about minerals and ores. So what are minerals? What are ores? We read about. Ores are also minerals, but all minerals are not ores. I think you have remembered. Minerals are natural, pure and organic substance. They are crystalline in nature. And the example of minerals, we have read two examples, copper oxide and iron silver. There are many more examples in your book. I have summarized over here. And metals are found in a combined form, in the form of minerals. This thing we have read. And about ores are also minerals, but those minerals which contain metals are only called ores. All minerals are not ores, because all minerals may not contain metal in the combined form. So those only particular minerals where you get the metals in the combined form are called ore. I have given you an example, simple example, bauxite, which is the C4 oxygen, is the combination of oxygen, ozone, water, and aluminum itself. So this is the ore. Ore is also, you can remember or recall, as a source, and all ores are minerals, but all minerals are not ores. And how we extract the metals from its ores, this process is called metallurgy. So this thing we read over there. Now where we have been reading, we will be starting reading about the metals that is being used in our daily life. So the number one, we are going to the iron. Iron is a famous metal. If anybody tell you or anybody say metal, then the one thing that strikes in your mind is iron, because it is the most common thing that we are being using in our daily basis, in our working station, in our reading station, even in our eating station also we will see iron. Your almari may be made up of iron, or maybe made up of metal. Your cooking utensils, your eating utensils, your driving vehicles, all are made up of metals. Some metals you may be wearing, like gold, like silver. So now let's go about iron, its properties, its position, its uses, and many more things in this chapter. We'll read all these metals, all these 5 metals thoroughly. We'll read about their properties, we'll introduce themselves, their position is periodic table too. Now the first, iron. Let's introduce this. Turkey is the first country to extract iron from its ores. Simple thing. So iron, it is a element, it is a metal, and it is a element. So it is found in a combined form, because we have read already, mostly elements are found in a combined state. So iron also found in the combined state. Now we are going to the ancient period. Turkey is the first country to extract iron from its ores. Ores are the source of. So what will be the source? We will read in the next topic also. Now Turkey is first country to extract iron. I think it is around 1500 or 2000 BC, and from that time iron age has started. So another property of iron or another thing about iron you may be knew, that is the second most abundant metal found in the earth crust. सबैभन्दा धेरै पाइन्छ है हाम्रो पृथ्वीको माथिल्लो सतह क्रस्ट, चार सतहको हुन्छ क्रस्ट, मेन्टल, इनर कोर, आउटर कोर. सो यो मध्ये पहिलो सतह क्रस्टमा चाहिँ ओर्सहरुमा सबैभन्दा धेरै मात्रामा पाइने मेटल भनेको के हो? आइरन हो, फलाम हो है. सिम्पली हाम्रो नेपालको नि विभिन्न ठाउँमा पाइन्छ, हामीले क्लास 8 9 मा पनि पढियो हैन. र so it is the second most abundant metal found in earth crust. Now the symbol is Fe. I think you have got this thing in your earlier classes. The symbol of iron is Fe. But simply you may ask me the question, hydrogen symbol is H because hydrogen starts from the word H. But why Fe is used in the iron? So I will tell you, iron is the new name given for that particular metal. Its original name was ferrum. In Latin word, iron was called as ferrum. So F-E-R-M, ferrum. So that symbol is derived from the Latin word ferrum, Fe. So why at that time people called iron as ferrum? Why they called ferrum? Because the word ferrum describes any rigid object. That means ferrum, anything hard thing, any hard thing that is found in the ancient ages was called ferrum. Rigid thing, very hard, very tough thing, that is called ferrum in the Latin word. So iron was also found in that time, so they call that as a ferrum. So now we get simple as ferrum. So atomic number, the atomic number of iron is 26. It has two valences. Sometimes it have two valency, sometimes it has valency number 2, sometimes it has valency number 3. So when it has a valency 2, it is called ferrous, and if it has valency 3, it is called ferric. So it has two different. Why it is, we will describe in next topic. So we must remember iron symbol Fe, its atomic number is 26 and its valence is 2 and 3 both, you can say. 2, if it has 2 it is called ferrous, and if it has 3 it is called ferric. Now the configuration according to electron model, its configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2 and 3d6. So we will be familiar with this configuration also. We can try it at home also. So let's go to the next topic, position in periodic table. So what is the position of iron in periodic table? I think periodic table, modern periodic table, which starts from hydrogen. There are different elements. I think you know how much element there. I am not telling you, because if you have forgotten also, you have to look the book. Okay. So position in the periodic table. So there are different elements locating in different groups or periods. In periodic table is composed of periods and groups. So where we will find the iron? Okay, its atomic number is 26, and now iron is found in the D block of periodic table. This is a simple thing I am going to tell. There is nothing to describe about this. It is a D block element. That means iron lies in the D block of periodic table, and it is in the group 8 and in the period 4. Now electropositive element. We know this thing very earlier, because all metals must be electropositive in nature. So electropositive element, iron. So all metals are electropositive in nature. That means iron is a electropositive element. That means it loses the electron in chemical reaction. But when it loses 2 electron, it is called ferrous, and when it loses 3 electron, it is called ferric. So why do it have, in your mind it may come, why did it have two different valences, 2 and 3? ferrous and ferric. So why this so? I have written some word for you. So you must read this clearly and listen to my words also. It has 2 electrons in its 4s orbital. See, 4s orbital, it has the 2 electrons. Okay, and 6 electron in the 4d orbital. For stability, this means 3d. Okay, electron in its 3d orbital. So for stability, it loses 2 electron in 4s orbital and have valency 2. So during a chemical reaction, to be stable, to be go in the ionic form, it loses 2 electrons in the 4s orbitals. And if it loses from the 4s orbital, that means it will lose 2 electron and it will have the valency number 2. And since half filled orbitals are more stable, and there is another concept for stability also, if the orbitals are half filled, it is really more stable. So it loses more 1 electron from d orbital, and it will have a valency 3. So there are 2 different cases. Simply it loses 2 electrons to be stable, and if becomes stable in that chemical reaction, then it will have a 2 valency number 2, and that it is also called ferrous. And in case if it doesn't stabilize after even losing the 2 electrons, it loses 1 more electron from the d orbital. Okay, and it becomes stable, and that condition it will have a valency number 3, and it is called ferric. So if it loses 2, it is called ferrous form, and if it loses 3, so ferric. So we can, if we combine oxygen and iron, sometimes it may become ferrous oxide, sometimes it becomes ferric oxide, because during chemical reaction there are different factors which we will read in next classes or next chapter also. So different condition may arise. So during chemical reaction, any element must be stable. So here for I am taking the example of reaction between iron and oxygen. So in some condition iron loses 2, okay, so it becomes ferrous oxide, and when if iron cannot be stable after even losing 2, it more loses 1 more electron from its d orbital also. So in this condition it becomes ferric. So in one condition it may become ferrous oxide, and another condition it may become ferric oxide. Okay, I think we are clear with this. It is a d block element. This lies in the group 8, period 4, electropositive element, because all metals are electropositive nature, but it has 2 different valencies, that is valency 2 or valency 3. And now occurrence and ores. Now simple. Now ores, I think this is a very familiar word with you. You are in your mind, ores, when a ore come, you will think source of iron. Ores of iron means source of iron. That means we will get iron there in a combined, or maybe rarely we will get iron in a free state, but mostly in case of ores it is found in combination with other elements. So now in occurrence and ores we are reading one by one point, and I will be describing here. So it is a very reactive metal. It means iron, right? Iron is a very reactive metal, so it is very rarely found in the free state, that directly you can not, oh, I got the source of iron, I am getting this. No, you are not getting this, because it is a very reactive metal. So it immediately reacts when it is kept over the moist air. It immediately reacts or immediately corrodes, or it immediately forms rust. So iron is a very reactive metal, so it is rarely found in the free state, and so it occurs in nature in the combined form. That is, in nature it combines with other elements, and when it combines with other element, that is we call the ore, and from the ore we have to extract it. From its ore we have to extract it. In our next point you can read also, it is a very reactive metal, so rarely found in free state, so it occurs in nature in a combined form. And the next point is, in our human body too, it is found as hemoglobin. This in biology you are reading from your earlier class, hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a substance in our blood. So you may have in your mind, hemoglobin makes our blood red. Yes, that is a sure right thing. But the hemoglobin, when we inhale the oxygen, this oxygen reacts with the hemoglobin and it becomes oxyhemoglobin. So oxyhemoglobin makes your blood red. So it is one of the essential thing, and we must have hemoglobin in blood, and we get hemoglobin or we may get iron. Okay, we can say we may get iron from different type of vegetables, different type of fruits we get iron. So if iron is lacked in our body, we suffer from a condition called anemia. नेपालीमा रक्त अल्पता भन्छ है. एनिमिया भन्ने रोग लाग्छ यदि हाम्रो शरीरको रगतमा हेमोग्लोबिन कम छ भने. यसले आरबीसी को मात्रा कम गराउँछ र एन्ड विल बी सफरिङ फ्रम एनिमिया. Now, in our human body too, it is found as hemoglobin. हाम्रो शरीरमा पाइने आइरनलाई नै हामीले हेमोग्लोबिन पनि भन्छौँ र आइरन चाहिँ हामीले विभिन्न फलफुलहरू तरकारीहरूबाट प्राप्त गर्न सक्छौँ. सायद तपाईको घरमा बुवा मम्मीले भन्नुहुन्छ अथवा तपाई किताबहरुमा पढिसक्नु होला, आइरन पाइन्छ यो कुरामा. आइरन राम्रो हाम्रो स्वास्थ्यको लागि है. फेरि आइरन खाने भन्नु फलाम खाने चाहिँ होइन. You should not get confused because you are now becoming a big. And now ores of iron. Now what are the ores of iron? From where we have to extract the ores? अब कहाँबाट निकाल्ने है? यसको सोर्स अथवा ओर्सहरू के हुन्? घाउ भन्छ नेपालीमा ओर्सलाई है. So the ores of iron are hematite, magnetite and siderite. Hematite, magnetite and siderite, and one of the chief ore is hematite. सबभन्दा इम्पोर्टेन्ट हेमाटाइट हो. तपाईले म्याग्नेटाइट पनि सम्झ्नु. You have to remember all these things. बुकमा अझै धेरै होला. Hematite, magnetite, siderite are the important ores of iron. That means we will get iron from this ores. The name of the ores where we get the iron are called hematite, magnetite and siderite. Okay, here we get iron in the mixed form or in a composed form. So we have to find out that ore and we have to undergo the different process that is called metallurgy, and we will extract the iron in the pure form. Hematite is the chief ore of iron, containing 72% of iron. That means in a ore named hematite, we will get iron 72%, 72.5% and 27.5 are other composition. Okay, so pure iron, we have read in the first point, very reactive metal, that is iron is a very reactive metal. So pure iron is chemically reactive and corrodes rapidly, especially in the moisture. So if we put pure iron in normally in the air or normally in the room temperature, and if room temperature decreases or increases, if the humidity increases, if there is moisture, so what will happen? It will corrodes, because pure iron is very reactive. You must get this thing in your mind. Iron is very reactive in nature. You can see all iron which are exposed in the environment are being rusted. So this is the property of iron also. It is a very reactive, and if it is laid in the free state, it will surely get corrodes. Okay, now we are clear with the occurrence and ores. Now we will be reading the physical properties. What are the properties of iron? The properties of iron are as below. Here are different points, so we will be reading one by one. Number one is silvery, shiny, grey color, lustrous metal. So anything which is look like silvery in color or shiny grey but shiny, that is lustrous, that means shiny. So that type of metal is iron. Specific gravity of iron is 7.86, that is relative density. You may not be confused with this word specific gravity. This value is 7.86, that is relative density. The relative density of iron is 7.86. Now melting point, we have read about metals, their melting point and boiling point are high. So the melting point of iron is 1535 degrees Celsius and boiling point is 2500 degrees Celsius. Just imagine 2500 degrees Celsius. Water boils at, ice melts at 1 degree centigrade, and water boils is 100 degrees centigrade. But in case of iron, you can see the huge amount of temperature. When heated more than 700 degrees Celsius, loses magnetic property. Now you also remember one thing, iron is attracted with the magnet. Iron is attracted with the, or magnet attracts the iron. But if there is iron and if you have heating the iron continuously and the temperature rises to 700 degrees centigrade and above, now the iron is not get affected by magnet because it loses its magnetic property. Good conductor, iron is a good conductor of heat and electricity. It has the property like malleable and ductile. These are very simple thing. You can recall this also. Silvery, shiny, grey, lustrous metal is called iron. Its specific gravity is 7.86 or its relative density is 7.86. Its melting point is 1535 degrees Celsius and boiling point is 2500 degrees Celsius. When the iron is heated more than 700 degrees centigrade, it is not affected by the magnet. It is the good conductor of heat and electricity both, and it is malleable and ductile. That means we get the sheet of iron and we get a wire of iron. Now uses of the iron. Now where we use the iron. Iron is used for various purposes in our daily life. I think this thing is a very simple thing for class student, but I am going to note some important points so that you can memorize, you can exactly get the thing what I am teaching you. So the uses of iron are making of rods, pipes, chains, vehicles. I have been earlier telling you vehicle is made up of iron, even rods, iron rods, pipes, we will get iron pipes, chain, cycle chain, motorbike chain, every chains, they are made up of iron. Another is manufacture of agricultural tools, weapon, etc. Now our country is an agricultural country, so different farmers are engaged in the agriculture, so they use spade, sickles, like spade for digging the land, sickles for cutting grasses. These all things are made up from the iron. Simply you will get to the shop and you can buy this thing also. And weapons, weapon means knife, tarbar, kukuri, where you used to chop vegetable, where you used to chop meat also. These everything are made up of metals or usually are made up of iron. And household utensils like karai, everything where you cook different type of food, bhanda kudaharu है यो सबै केले बनेको हुन्छ फलामले बनेको स्पेशली द कराई. You have seen that black colored karai in your house. You may frequently see you can see your mother cooking tarkari in that karai. So that is made of purely iron. And catalyst in different chemical reaction. This may be a new thing, but these words are familiar. Catalyst, you know the catalyst. Catalysts are those things which changes the rate of chemical reaction but doesn't take part in chemical reaction. So in different chemical reaction, iron is needed. It may lower down the speed of chemical reaction or it may increase the rate of chemical reaction. Okay, and it is also used as a catalyst in different chemical reaction. And construction of bridges, building and roads, we can see different bridges made up of iron, different buildings made up of iron, and different roads, walls are made up of iron. So I am going to end this class and let's summarize again about the iron. Its introduction: Turkey is the first country to extract iron from its ores. Okay, its symbol is Fe, atomic number is 26. It has two valences, 2 and 3. If it has 2, it is called ferrous. If it has 3, it is called ferric. And the position, it is a D block. It lies in the group 8. It lies in the period 4. It is the electropositive element. And I have also teached you about the details why it loses 2 and why it loses 3 also. Okay, so we get the ores of iron are hematite, magnetite, and siderite. It is always found in the common state. It is not found in the free state because it is very reactive and easily corrodes. And hematite is the chief ore. You have to remember this thing. Hematite is the chief ore of iron. And physical properties: it is a silvery shiny grey colored lustrous. It has a specific gravity of 7.86. Its melting point is 1535 degrees Celsius and boiling point is 2500 degrees Celsius. When it is heated about more than 700 degree temperature, it loses magnetic property. It is a good conductor of heat electricity. It is malleable. It is ductile. And we read about the uses of the metal, uses of the iron. So iron is used to make rod, iron is to make pipe, iron is to make chains, iron is to make vehicles, different vehicles, even your bike, buses, tractors, truck, everything are made up of metals. And another use is the agricultural tools. I have told you about the spades, so sickles, and weapons like knife, kukuri, tarbar, and household utensils. So iron is used to make the household utensils like karai, and it is used as a catalyst in different chemical reaction. That means it lowers the rate of chemical reaction or it may decrease according to the need. We use the iron, but it doesn't take in the chemical reaction if it is used as the catalyst. And another thing is, different bridges are made of iron, and different roads are also made up of iron, like Akase pool, Akase Bado, flyover. So that type of things are made up of metal. So I am going to summarize. So I am going to end up these classes. If you have any queries, don't forget to comment. Thank you.